Hello, I'm Craig Brailsford, and welcome to another episode of Small Stocks, Big Money. For those of you new to the show, RedChip is an investor relations, media, and research firm focused on emerging growth companies. Our unique platform combines global multimedia with traditional investor relations, reaching investors around the world. Now, today's show features interviews with the executives of two public companies. First up is 60 Degrees Pharmaceuticals. 60 Degrees Pharmaceuticals is a growth-oriented biotechnology company with the goal of using cutting-edge biological science and applied research to further develop and commercialize new therapies for the prevention and treatment of infectious diseases. 60 Degrees Pharmaceuticals has achieved regulatory approval of Aracoda, tafenoquine, a malaria preventative treatment that has been on the market since 2019. Currently, 60 Degrees Pharmaceuticals' pipeline includes development programs for tafenoquine and kelgosivir targeting fungal, tick-borne, and other viral diseases. We'll learn more when we speak with the CEO later in the show. Up next is Liberty Star Minerals. Liberty Star is a U.S.-based mineral exploration company focused on advancing high-potential copper and gold projects in Arizona's premier mining districts. The company's flagship assets include the Red Rock Canyon Gold Project, a rapidly emerging, high-grade epithermal gold discovery, and the Hay Mountain Project, a large-scale copper-gold porphyry target with confirmed mineralization. We'll learn more when we speak with the chairman and director later in the show. Before we dive into our first interview, let's take a moment to recognize some of RedChip's top performers in 2024. Among them, RedCat, up an incredible 1,293% in 2024. Alliance Entertainment, soaring by 842%. Gorilla Technology, which gained 250%. And Nova Minerals, up 149%. These companies have demonstrated the immense potential of the small-cap market. Before we move forward, let's take a look at RedChat, a revolutionary AI chatbot for small-cap stock analysis.
For 32 years, RedChip has been discovering tomorrow's blue chips today with early research on Starbucks, Celsius, Daktronics, Winnebago, and more. Now we bring you RedChat, an innovative AI solution which gives you answers in seconds on over 2,000 small-cap stocks listed on the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. Visit redchip.com today and use RedChat, your AI small-cap assistant. RedChat.
Now let's move on to our quote of the week. It comes from the book, Small Stocks, Big Money. Work hard, be a long-term thinker, develop tenacity, and remember, nothing happens without taking calculated risks. This quote comes from Phil Sassower of the Phoenix Group, and it is featured in Chapter 9 of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book of exclusive interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon today for just $18. Now, let's get started with our first interview today with 60 Degrees Pharmaceuticals. Hello, today we have Jeff Dow, the CEO, President, and Director of 60 Degrees Pharma. Jeff, great to have you today.
Yeah, you too, Craig. Great to see you again.
Jeff, for those hearing about 60 Degrees Pharmaceuticals for the first time, what's the core mission of the company, and why is now an exciting time to take a look at your company?
So our core mission is developing new small molecules for infectious disease, and we're focusing really from an R&D perspective on tick-borne disease, specifically babesiosis. It's a great time to get involved with the company because we're right on the cusp of generating interesting clinical data early next year, and we're positioned very nicely commercially to get to cash flow positivity in the next 18 months or so.
Now, Jeff, you've already brought an FDA-approved product to market. Can you tell us about Aracoda and how it's differentiated in the malaria prevention space?
Yeah, sure. So Aracoda was FDA approved in 2018. It's been commercially available since 2019 for travel medicine. It is unique amongst anti-malarials for malaria prevention for two reasons. One, it's a weekly dosing product, so you only have to take it once a week while you travel. And then the other thing that differentiates it is it's effective in all parts of the world. So in many parts of the world, there's drug resistance, or there are different kinds of malaria. Our product, Aracoda, has none of those issues, so you can use it everywhere.
Aracoda's sales more than doubled year over year, even before your full-scale marketing push, Jeff. What is driving that growth, and what are your next steps to accelerate revenue?
So we saw some nice growth last year, which we're very pleased about. And we're about to kick our commercial pilot study for malaria prevention into full gear in the next month or so. And of course, folks will remember that there was a pandemic when we first launched the product in 2019. And so we're actually doing the first commercial push behind the product this year, and we're very excited about seeing what happens.
You've been working to expand Aracoda's label to include babesiosis. This is a rapidly emerging tick-borne disease. Now, how big is that opportunity, and why is 60 Degrees Pharma uniquely positioned to lead here?
So, of course, those of you who've been following the Lyme disease story know that 25 years ago, there were hardly any cases. And now people talk about numbers like 900,000, a million cases a year based on insurance claims. We're sort of at that point with babesiosis, where the CDC says there might be 2,000 to 3,000 cases a year. But surveys and market research we've done suggest the burden of disease might be a lot higher than that. Our product, when it's combined with standard of care in immunosuppressed patients, seems to provide a really interesting therapeutic profile for patients who previously failed their standard of care medication. And what we're doing at 60 Degrees is basically trying to confirm those already published case reports with tafenoquine and hopefully be able to go to the FDA next year with a request for additional labeling to cover babesiosis. And then we can capitalize on the underserved market and benefit lots of patients, hopefully starting in late 2026 or early 2027.
Now, as you just touched on, Jeff, tafenoquine has shown high efficacy, including in those immunosuppressed patients with babesiosis, and other treatments often fail there. Can you break down how your drug is outperforming the standard of care?
Yeah, so immunosuppressed babesiosis patients, usually they have a lack of a spleen. They might be immunosuppressed because they're taking a drug that depletes their antibody production. And so they're really at risk of a normal babesiosis infection, which clears up in most people by itself. They're at risk of that disease being persistent and causing repeat hospitalizations. And what we found is that, in many patients, you get drug resistance to the existing combination standard of care. And that drug resistance seems to go away when you combine the standard of care with tafenoquine. And the case studies that have come out in the literature seem to show that tafenoquine is pretty active. Now what we're doing is systematically documenting that activity in a formal clinical trial to confirm the encouraging observations that have already been made in the scientific literature.
You've assembled a team with deep experience in commercial launches and regulatory success. What can you tell us about some of the key players?
My colleague, Kristen Landon, is our Chief Commercial Officer. She's been involved in at least 10 different commercial product launches and uniquely has a background in both big pharma and small pharma. And when you're a small virtual pharma company like us, having the kind of breadth of experience in big pharma, but also operating in the environment of small pharma, which is completely different, are two really important things to bring to the table. Our Chief Medical Officer, Brian Smith, he and I have known each other for at least 17 years. And we've been involved, of course, in the FDA approval of Aracoda originally. And then he himself separately was involved in another FDA approval of an anti-infective. And we're joined by Ty, who's been our chief financial officer since 2014. And we're a pretty close-knit group, used to working in a highly virtual environment, which is how the company's structured.
In summary, Jeff, what's the essential value proposition? Why should investors pay attention to 60 Degrees Pharmaceuticals today?
So, of course, as I've joked with you before, Craig, we're the smallest NASDAQ listed drug company with an approved FDA product. That shows the depth and breadth of our experience and our commitment to go the whole distance. But at the same time, potentially perhaps undervalued relative to companies that have more of a discovery or clinical portfolio and haven't been to the rodeo before in terms of getting through the FDA and commercializing a product.
Jeff, thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thanks a lot, Craig, and looking forward to seeing you next time.
Now, to get more information on 60 Degrees Pharmaceuticals, visit SXTPinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free, and you can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like 60 Degrees Pharmaceuticals. Watch this show again and explore hundreds of small-cap stock videos on RedChip's YouTube channel. And also, go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly our client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, visit redchip.com and subscribe today. In addition to our newsletter, you can also order your copy of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book written by RedChip CEO featuring interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Order your copy on Amazon today for just $18. Before we move forward, let's take a look at RedChat, a revolutionary AI chatbot for small-cap stock analysis.
For 32 years, RedChip has been discovering tomorrow's blue chips today with early research on Starbucks, Celsius, Daktronics, Winnebago, and more. Now we bring you RedChat, an innovative AI solution which gives you answers in seconds on over 2,000 small-cap stocks listed on the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. Visit redchip.com today and use RedChat, your AI small-cap assistant. RedChat.
Now let's move on to our next interview today with Liberty Star Minerals. Hello, today we have Pete O'Hearn, Chairman of Liberty Star Minerals, and Gerardo King, Director of Liberty Star Minerals. Liberty trades on the OTCQB under the ticker LBSR. Pete and Gerardo, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it. Love to tell the story.
Thank you for having us.
Turning first to Pete. Pete, for viewers just learning about Liberty Star Minerals, let's start with an overview of your current development projects.
Sure. Liberty Star Minerals is a U.S.-based exploration company focused on unlocking value in high-potential mineral targets in Arizona. We have two main properties. We have Red Rock Canyon, which is an exciting near-surface gold play, and Hay Mountain, which is a large-scale porphyry copper gold target, polymetallic, that we believe could become a world-class system. Our projects are located in a mining-friendly jurisdiction, and they align perfectly with the national priorities for critical minerals. And we like to say we have a 365-day mining season. So our northern brethren that might be locked out in the winter, we keep going.
Now let's talk more about Red Rock Canyon. You've reported bonanza-grade gold samples with some exceeding 100 grams per ton. What does this tell us about the scale and potential of the deposit?
Well, we've seen these type of concentrations in historic drill holes. We've seen them on surface samples. We did channel sampling here recently, and those grades really speak for themselves. I mean, over 100 grams per ton is is rare. And when you see that kind of high grade material at surface, it tells you two things. First, it tells you the system has strong mineralizing potential. And second, there's a possibility of early low cost production at Red Rock Canyon. That it gives us a compelling short-term gold story with a real upside. It's not just about ounces in the ground, it's about grade, scale, and the potential to deliver value quickly to our shareholders.
Let's take a look now at Hay Mountain, Pete. Your drill results in 2024 confirmed a pore-free copper-gold system. What were the key takeaways from those initial holes?
Well, 2024 for us was kind of a game changer. We've done sampling out there. We've done geophysical sampling, geochemistry sampling. Both of those maps match up almost identical. So we know that there's an enormously large mineral footprint out there. We confirmed the existence of porphyry system and multiple mineralized zones, and there's large intercepts of copper, gold. We have silver out there, moly. We even have cobalt, and we have rare earths. It's exciting that we've only just started to tap into the system. The scale is there. This is an enormous mineral footprint, one of the largest in the Western Hemisphere, if not the largest. Structure's robust, and we're looking at a system that could support a multi-decade operation, or as we like to say, multi-generational.
Thanks, Pete. Now, I'd like to turn to Gerardo, ask him a few questions. Gerardo, your team is actively seeking a joint venture partner. What does the ideal partner look like, and how would a JV accelerate development at your projects?
That's a great question, and thanks for that. We are looking for a partner in two different layers. For our gold property, we are looking for an operating partner that can help us accelerate this asset into production within the next 24 months. We've seen this type of operation, see the cash flow production light within that time frame, so we think that's possible. And we need to stick to what we know, which is being strategic and prospecting great assets into production and leave the operating to somebody that has a track record and can build that working capital into the function. The JV regarding the porphyry and Hay Mountain is a prospective partner that needs to scale this into a large top 5 production level asset. And what that means, we need to cubicate the main copper ore body and then dimension what kind of mine we can build out of that.
Gerardo, your team has a dual focus strategy, gold in the short term, copper gold in the long term. How does this approach benefit shareholders, and especially in these volatile markets?
Yes, so we are trying to disconnect ourselves from the traditional prospective junior market and offer the viability and the visibility of cash flow production within a horizon of time where usually it takes decades to get an asset into production. We can have something within 2 years, and that will not only allow us to keep cash inflowing our copper asset, but it would also allow us to keep prospecting and build a platform out of Liberty Minerals, not only in continental USA, but across the Americas with these strategic assets.
Turning back to Pete now for this question. Pete, your technical team, deep track record. How does that experience translate into smarter exploration and better outcomes for shareholders?
Well, I'll tell you, we do. We have a very experienced team. Our chief geologist, Steve Rivera, is from that area. He is well published in that area, knows that mineralized zone probably better than anyone. Our original founder, Jim Briscoe, had been studying this area for over 30 years and was kind of the tip of the spear on some of the techniques that we use, CTEM and some of the geophysical techniques that we use to identify the boundaries. Then Jay Crawford, who's our Vice President of Field Operations, has been on that ground in place for well over a decade, developing those mineral leases for us. Gerardo, who you meet on this call here, has decades of experience in putting together joint ventures in the mining industry. And then we have on our board 2 other members who are steeped in experience in the capital markets. So I think we've got a team that can take this to the next level. the ones that have the technical experience about what we have on site, and also the people that can grow the company.
All right, now, and turning to Gerardo for the final question. What is the essential value proposition? Gerardo, why should investors take an interest in Liberty Star right now?
Yes, on top of having the priority to generate cash flow as a prospective company, which is something uncommon in the market, we are linked to two strategic commodities in the very long run, right? So today, with copper, with gold nearing 3,400 an ounce, it makes a lot of sense being invested in this mineral. Every gold producer worldwide is probably very into the money right now. So that's our cash flow rich proposition. While we fund our strategic copper ore body, which nearing $5 a pound, we're still near unprecedented levels. And not only that, but facing an era in which the US needs to find sustainable US strategic assets. And that builds and that poises Liberty Star Minerals into one of the unique platforms to expand this legacy into the future and continental US.
Gentlemen, it is a truly fascinating story. Thank you both for sharing it with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, sir.
Now, to get more information on Liberty Star Minerals, visit lbsrinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free, and you can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like Liberty Star Minerals. Watch this show again and explore hundreds of small cap stock videos on RedChip's YouTube channel, and also go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly our client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, visit redchip.com and subscribe today. In addition to our newsletter, you can order Small Stocks, Big Money. This is a book written by RedChip CEO, featuring interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon for $18. Now, let's recap the companies featured today. First, you met 60 Degrees Pharmaceuticals, SXTP on the NASDAQ. 60 Degrees Pharmaceuticals is a growth-oriented biotechnology company with a goal of using cutting-edge biological science and applied research to further develop and commercialize new therapies for the prevention and treatment of infectious diseases. 60 Degrees Pharmaceuticals has achieved regulatory approval of Aracoda, tafenoquine, a malaria preventative treatment that has been on the market since 2019. Currently, 60 Degrees Pharmaceuticals' pipeline includes development programs for tafenoquine and kelgosivir targeting fungal, tick-borne, and other viral diseases. Learn more at www.sxtpinfo.com. Then you met Liberty Star Minerals, LBSR on the OTCQB. Liberty Star Minerals is a US-based mineral exploration company focused on advancing high-potential copper and gold projects in Arizona's premier mining districts. The company's flagship assets include the Red Rock Canyon Gold Project, a rapidly emerging high-grade epithermal gold discovery, and the Hay Mountain Project, a large-scale copper-gold porphyry target with confirmed mineralization. Learn more at www.lbsrinfo.com. Don't forget to check out our stocks page. It is the biggest small-cap stock portal in the industry. Every company listed on the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange with market caps of $2 billion and less. And it's categorized by industries. Watch this show again and explore hundreds of small-cap stock videos on RedChip's YouTube channel. And be sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter and learn about a lot of small-cap companies. Also, go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly our client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, if you have any questions about any of our public companies featured on today's show, call us at 1-800-REDCHIP or email us at info@redchip.com. In closing, remember, while small caps can provide significant gains, you must be prepared for the downside. Small cap stocks are among the most volatile of asset classes. Some of the companies featured on this show are RedChip client companies, and we may own stock in these companies. So please, always read our disclosures at redchip.com. Thanks for being with us today. We'll see you next week with some new, exciting, emerging growth companies.
RedChip. We build investor audiences for small cap companies, retail and institutional. 33 years, thousands of clients. We are experts in messaging. National TV ad campaigns, investor webinars, digital media, reaching hundreds of thousands of investors. RedChip. We do it well, we do it right, we do it big. RedChip. Call us or email us today. For 32 years, RedChip has been discovering tomorrow's blue chips today with early research on Starbucks, Celsius, Daktronics, Winnebago, and more. Now we bring you RedChat, an innovative AI solution which gives you answers in seconds on over 2,000 small cap stocks listed on the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. Visit redchip.com today and use RedChat, your AI small cap assistant. RedChat.